We worship you, Jesus, and bless your name.
By your cross you have rescued the world and set us free.
Then Jesus went with them to a garden called Gethsemane and told his disciples, "Stay here while I go over there to pray." Taking along Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, he plunged into an agonizing sorrow. Then he said, "This sorrow is crushing my life out. Stay here and keep vigil with me." Going a little ahead, he fell on his face, praying, "My Father, if there is any way, get me out of this, but please, not what I want. What do you want?" When he came back to his disciples, he found them sound asleep. He said to Peter, "Can't you stick it out with me a single hour? Stay alert, be in prayer so that you don't wander into temptation without even knowing you're in danger. There's a part of you that is eager, ready for anything in God. But there's another part that's as lazy as an old dog sleeping by the fire."
Lord Jesus, help us to walk in your ways.
We worship you, Jesus, and bless your name.
By your cross you have rescued the world and set us free.
Suddenly, while Jesus was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, came with the mob carrying swords and clubs. They had been sent by the chief priests, legal experts, and elders. His betrayer had given them a sign: "Arrest the man I kiss, and take him away under guard." And as soon as he got there, Judas said to Jesus, "Rabbi." Then he kissed him, and they came and grabbed Jesus and arrested him.
Lord Jesus, help us to walk in your ways.
We worship you, Jesus, and bless your name.
By your cross you have rescued the world and set us free.
When it was morning, the religious leaders of the people and the high priests and scholars all got together and brought him before their high council. They said, "Are you the Messiah?" He answered, "If I said yes, you wouldn't believe me. If I asked what you meant by your question, you wouldn't answer me. So here's what I have to say. From here on, the Son of Man takes his place at God's right hand, the place of power." They all said, "So you admit your claim to be the Son of God?" "You're the ones who keep saying it," he said. But they had made up their minds. "Why do we need any more evidence? We've all heard him as good as say it himself."
Lord Jesus, help us to walk in your ways.
We worship you, Jesus, and bless your name.
By your cross you have rescued the world and set us free.
All this time, Peter was sitting out in the courtyard. One servant girl came up to him and said, "You are with Jesus the Galilean." In front of everyone there, he denied it. "I don't know what you are talking about." And as he moved over toward the gate, someone else said to the people there, "This man was with Jesus the Nazarene." Again, he denied it, salting his denial with an oath, "I swear I've never laid eyes on the man." Shortly after that, some bystanders approached Peter. "You've got to be one of them. Your accent gives you away." Then he got really nervous and swore, "I don't know the man." Just then, a rooster crowed. Peter remembered what Jesus had said, "Before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times." He went out and cried and cried and cried.
Lord Jesus, help us to walk in your ways.
We worship you, Jesus, and bless your name.
By the cross you have rescued the world and set us free.
Pilate came back. "So what do you want me to do with this man you call King of the Jews?" They yelled, "Nail him to the cross!" Pilate objected, "But for what crime?" But they yelled all the louder, "Nail him to the cross!" Pilate gave the crowd what it wanted, set Barabbas free, and turned Jesus over for whipping and crucifixion.
Lord Jesus, help us to walk in your ways.
We worship you, Jesus, and bless your name.
By the cross you have rescued the world and set us free.
So Pilate took Jesus and had him whipped. The soldiers, having braided a crown from thorns, set it on his head, threw a purple robe over him, and approached him with, "Hail, King of the Jews!" Then they greeted him with slaps in the face.
Lord Jesus, help us to walk in your ways.
We worship you, Jesus, and bless your name.
By the cross you have rescued the world and set us free.
Then Pilate handed Jesus over to be crucified. The soldiers took Jesus prisoner. Carrying his cross by himself, he went out to the place called Skull Place, in Aramaic, Golgotha.
Lord Jesus, help us to walk in your ways.
We worship you, Jesus, and bless your name.
By the cross you have rescued the world and set us free.
Simon, a man from Cyrene, Alexander and Rufus' father, was coming in from the countryside. They forced him to carry his cross.
Lord Jesus, help us to walk in your ways.
We worship you, Jesus, and bless your name.
By the cross you have rescued the world and set us free.
A huge crowd of people followed, along with women weeping and carrying on. At one point, Jesus turned to the women and said, "Daughters of Jerusalem, don't cry for me. Cry for yourselves and for your children. The time is coming when they'll say, lucky the woman who's never conceived, lucky the woman who's never given birth, lucky the breasts that have never gave milk. Then they'll start calling to the mountains, fall down on us, calling to the hills, cover us up. If people do these things to a live green tree, can you imagine what they'll do with dead wood?
Lord Jesus, help us to walk in your ways.
We worship you, Jesus, and bless your name.
By the cross you have rescued the world and set us free.
When they got to the place called Skull Hill, they crucified him, along with the criminals, one on his right, the other on his left. Jesus prayed, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they are doing.
Lord Jesus, help us to walk in your ways.
We worship you, Jesus, and bless your name.
By your cross you have rescued the world and set us free.
One of the criminals hanging alongside cursed him. Some Messiah you are. Save yourself, save us. But the other one made him shut up. Have you no fear of God? You're getting the same as him. We deserve this, but not him. He did nothing to deserve this. Then he said, Jesus, remember me when you enter your kingdom. He said, don't worry, I will. Today you will join me in paradise.
Lord Jesus, help us to walk in your ways.
We worship you, Jesus, and bless your name.
By your cross you have rescued the world and set us free.
Jesus' mother, his aunt, Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene stood at the foot of the cross. Jesus saw his mother and the disciple he loved standing near her. He said to his mother, Woman, here is your son. Then to the disciple, Here is your mother. From that moment, the disciple accepted her as his own mother.
Lord Jesus, help us to walk in your ways.
We worship you, Jesus, and bless your name.
By your cross you have rescued the world and set us free.
By now it was noon. The whole earth became dark, the darkness lasting 3 hours, a total blackout. The temple curtain split right down the middle. Jesus called loudly, Father, I place my life in your hands. Then he breathed his last.
Lord Jesus, help us to walk in your ways.
We worship you, Jesus, and bless your name.
By your cross, you have rescued the world and set us free.
That evening, a man named Joseph came. He was a rich man from Arimathea who had become a disciple of Jesus. He came to Pilate and asked for Jesus' body. Pilate gave him permission to take it. Joseph took the body, wrapped it in clean linen cloth, and laid it in his own new tomb, which he had carved out of the rock. After he rolled a large stone at the door of the tomb, he went away.
Lord Jesus, help us to walk in your ways.